Hi there, Dave here to talk about the Hello project we did the second class in the first week. So I've already brought it up and here it is. This is what we started off with, and first thing we said was, well, we know now that variable names have to be meaningful. So we decided to go ahead and change the name A to first word. So we're going to go ahead and change it, and we're going to change it the right way here. We're going to go up to refactor and rename, and we know that this will change not only name, it'll change the variable. So it'll change it here and here wherever the variable is used, not just the character A, because notice that it's not going to change the A in Dave. Okay, so let's go ahead and change it to first word, and then we'll change the second one to second word. And now we've got it. Then we realized that, well, there's a better way to do this. In fact, if we use the comma and then print second word, we find that it comes out the same. It works just fine, and that's because the default separator between whatever is being printed is a blank. And so if we run this, we see that it works just fine. Hello world. We demonstrated, for instance, that we could make the separator something else. So if we said sep equals, and then what that's equal to would be, let's make it carrots. And now if we ran the code, works like that. So the default separator, and Mark will show you that again, and this will become important in your formatting, your output. So we learned that we want to put some pseudocode up here. We don't want to concentrate on this particular language because, as we talked in class, there's JavaScript for the front end, there's PHP for the back end, there's Java for the middle. There's all kinds of different, besides Python, there's different programming languages that we want to be able to document what's going on in. So we have a language that's common to all of them. It's called pseudocode. And so we did a pseudocode version of this program, in which we'll be writing pseudocode from now on. Pseudocode is the main language. As a matter of fact, we're just using Python to implement pseudocode. So here's the correct pseudocode. We have to declare variables before we use them. So here's the declare, the big D for declare, and big string, it's a string. And so the second variable is also a string. And after we declare the variable, we can then set it. So we set its value to name. Its label is first word. Its value is hello. Its label is second word. Its value is world. Just as my label, my variable name is Dave. I am the guy who's standing up in front of you in class. Not my name. I'm not my name. Okay. So after we get done setting the variables, then we can do something with them, and what we're going to do is display first name, first word, second word. I did that in class too. So here we go. We have first word equals hello, second word equals world, and print the two. And once again, works just fine. Now this code does not match the pseudocode. There should be one line of pseudocode for each line of the language, basically. That can change occasionally, but we want to try to keep that as close as possible. Now we have these 3 lines covered okay, but we don't have the declare part taken care of. So the way we take care of that in Python is to go ahead and if I want to copy that line, I can just hit Control D for duplicate. Oops. That wasn't a very good demo, now was it? And then down here, I could duplicate that one, I suppose. And then I could move the first one up. So I suppose I could move that to, oops, can't do that. Let's see, grab that. Nope. So I can, if I move it up. Okay. So what I want to do is I'm going to cut this guy here and paste him up here. It's probably a more efficient way to do that. And then I've got both these guys together. I don't need any space particularly. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So to declare it, set it to its base value. So for a string, its base value is a 0 length string. And the way we do 0 length string is by just putting the 2 quotes right next to each other. That says this is a string, but it's got nothing in it. And we're going to do that here. So our way of declaring an int would be to set it to 0. Our way of declaring a real would be to set it to 0.0. A Boolean would be set to false. We'll talk about Booleans later. Mark is going to go through all this in another video too, so you'll get it again. It's all good. So there we go. Now our code matches. So let's go ahead and fire it off and make sure. Oops. There it is. Notice that I test the code after I make changes. I test the code because, gosh, if I'd made an error there and I'd gone on and made another change, how would I have known after making the second change whether it was the second change or the first change that caused the error? I wouldn't. That's why I test as I go. So now what we're going to do is we're going to change the code a little bit so that in fact we're going to input, so it says not just hello world, it says hello whatever name we want to input. And so let's see, let's look at the logic of the program. We declare a variable, we set the variables, we print the variables. So what we want to do is we want to change where we set the second variable to, instead of setting it, to input it. We still have to declare it, but now instead of setting it, which means that we're just going to set it in memory, we're going to input from an input device. So the display deals with the output devices we talked about. Now we're going to access the input device that we talked about, of the 5 components that we talked about. So far we've talked about memory, how to deal with memory, and how to deal with input device and output device. We will deal with auxiliary devices later. So let's take a look and see what we need to do. Well, up here in the pseudocode, everything looks good except where it says display first name, first word, second word. Yeah, we have to get it first. We have to input it. So, and before we input it, then we're gonna have to ask the user for it. So let's be nice and really clear about this. So the pound sign again says it's a comment in PHP, and we're putting our pseudocode in the top of the program. So there's our pound sign, and it says okay. So we're going to display, before we display the first word and second word, we're going to display please enter word. And we would put a space in there, and we talk about why later. So there we go. So display please enter word, and then you're going to enter the word, and then it's going to display. Oh, we got the display part. Now we have to have the input part right, so that comes after the display. And so we're going to input big letter in the pseudocode, and so we're going to input second word, right? This guy here. This is what we're going to input. Well, that means we're not going to set it, right? Yeah, so we can get rid of this set thing here. So now we're going to go ahead and set the first word to hello, and then we're going to display please enter word, and then we're going to input the second word, and then we're going to display first word and second word. So it's going to display hello and whatever name you enter. So that's pretty good. Let's see. Is there anything missing? Well, yeah, the code down here to do that. So there's our declaration. That all works still. First word still works. Now, second word is equal to. What it's equal to, in order to do this part is, well, in Python, we can pretty easily do this with one statement. So down here, what I do is we say that second word is going to be equal to the input of, well, what we pass the input is what we want the prompt to be. And so in Python, we just pass that in. And so that's what I just copied. And so second word is going to be equal to the output of the input function. And before input takes in whatever it's going to take in, it displays please enter word. So we've taken care of the display part, and we've taken care of the input part right there. And then we go ahead and do this. So let's go ahead and run it. And so look, it says please enter a word, and so I'm going to enter Dave, and then I'm going to press enter, and it comes out and it says hello Dave, and the program ended, and everything is hunky-dory. Our pseudocode, our Python code matches, 5 lines, 6 lines. Yeah, that's cool. You see, it doesn't always match. So here we've got display and input. These two are taken care of in one line. It's almost like we could do that kind of thing. All right. Take care of yourselves, and we'll see you Monday.